Okay, guys, we are live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Police Off the Cuff After Hours. I hear echo.
Because you probably have your phone on.
No, not yet. I forgot to do that, actually.
I had my volume on my phone. See, all these technical difficulties because we're on a shoestring budget here.
All right, cut. Let's take it from the top.
Hopefully it's not me.
No.
It's us.
Okay.
Welcome to another episode of Police Off the Cuff After Hours. My name is Mark DeMeo. I'm your host. My partner, my co-host in all things law enforcement, Bill Cannon. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I saw when we first zeroed in on where Mike is. He's in Chicago, man. It looks beautiful. What do you got, about 4 foot of snow there?
It almost has not stopped snowing. And normally the view's better, but it's covered with snow right now. It's a blizzard, but I got to admit, I'm kind of loving it. I don't have to do anything anyway.
Can you jump off your balcony and into the snow or no?
It's 50 stories. I'm on the 50th floor. I mean, I don't even
take a shot. Take a shot.
Do you want? I could bring the camera out there. You want to see it? It's really. I'm only a little afraid of heights, thankfully, but it is a little scary. But it's beautiful.
So let me introduce you to our audience. Our guest tonight is a retired NYPD Sergeant, Detective Sergeant. And he's one of the most highly respected and accomplished actors that's ever come out of the NYPD. He's appeared in movies and TV shows such as Wolf of Wall Street, Blue Bloods, Mozart in the Jungle, Orange is the New Black, Limitless. And that's just to name a few. Right now, he just came off of doing a show called The Undoing with Nicole Kidman. And he's here with us tonight. Thank you for joining us, Michael Devine.
Thank you, fellas. This is great.
Wow. That was some fucking introduction. Man.
It really was.
He doesn't.
I couldn't have written it better myself.
You may even get laid from that introduction.
My family might be watching this. I don't know. I told them quickly. Well, I am out of town.
I forgot to mention too that you're also a singer.
I do it all, but I really think of myself mainly as a dancer. You know, I think dancer first.
What are you doing? The Irish fucking step dancing? Get the fuck out of here.
Not even that. A couple roles I've actually had to like move well, as they call it, but I can't. It's the worst thing ever. So I worked on the stuff that had hope.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get into that whole history of how just you were an actor first before you joined the NYPD. But before you do that, we're gonna ask you for a second just to pretend like you're on one of the TV shows, the million TV shows that you've shot before.
All right.
Just sit back for a minute because we are going to do a commercial.
Oh, let's do it.
Listen up, guys and gals. We are sponsored by the best hot sauce in the world. Silk City Hot Sauce is made with small batches with pure ingredients. Locally grown peppers are the foundation of every bottle of Silk City Hot Sauce. There are several flavors from mild to wild, and you got to see the labels. It's killer artwork, man. I don't know if you can see that. I've had it. I've tested 3 out of the 5 so far, and they are phenomenal. They are beautiful. Please go to silkcityhotsauce.com. That's one word, silkcityhotsauce.com. Enter the coupon code OTC for Off the Cuff for a 15% discount. And wait, there's more. If you do that, you're going to get a free bottle of cherry sriracha. Don't forget OTC for a 15% discount. And thank you for Silk City Hot Sauce for being our first sponsor. And back to our show.
And OTC stands for Off the Cuff for all you geniuses out there that couldn't figure that out. Or you cops. That's why you became cops, because you couldn't figure out riddles.
So why are you in Chicago right now? You filming something?
I am. I'm not sure I can say just yet what it is, but it's a network show, and I'm in Chicago. So you have like a 1 in 3 chance of guessing what show I'm doing right now. But I don't think I can say just yet.
Chicago Fire.
I can't say just yet.
So I saw that you had an album and you knocked Pavarotti off the charts, and I was like, but Pavarotti got to sing with Eric Clapton, right?
I never did.
Mother, hear my prayer. Holy
that was kind of freaky. It was good, but freaky, right?
He was too powerful for that song,
Yeah,
like Clapton sang it, and he was like, "Holy Mother."
You know what made me cry with Pavarotti sang with James Brown?
Really?
Yeah. This is for A Man's World. They sang it together.
I've never heard
You gotta
that
look
one.
it up. Yeah, man, it's the most beautiful thing you'll ever hear.
Let me see if we can hear Mike sing right now.
Ah, and I'll dance. Oh, that's a sad one. That was a.
Let me
That was an
speed this
emotional
up a little bit.
So far, so good. You know what that joke when they say you should sing solo so that nobody could hear you?
Why are you interrupting him? The guy can sing.
I can't hear it. Nobody can hear it.
Yeah, I don't hear sound. Is there sound? It might.
Hang on a second. Let me just.
This better be good, Mike.
I sure hope so. What are you gonna do? Cut me off? I am on the 50th floor. Thankfully, you're not here.
Yeah, is that a hotel room?
I think.
Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bring him home. Bring him home. Bring him home. He's like the son I might have known.
Song makes me cry.
Granted me a son. The summers die one by one. How soon they fly on, and I am old and will be gone. Bring him peace, bring him joy.
Wow, that was amazing.
Thank you. I gotta say that was one of the proudest moments of my life. It was very, very moving because it was the National Memorial.
Wow. You hit that high note. Did you spend some time with the Harlem Boys Choir or what?
Yeah, some notes you were born to sing as a boy and it never changes.
Holy shit, that's very impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, it was so emotional because you start out and it's complete darkness, and that was the moment that they lit all the candles. So as I'm singing it, it's just candle after candle it went on forever. But I swear, it's one of the most touching, proudest moments of my life.
Now, do you play an instrument?
Nothing well, but I try the bagpipes. I play the bagpipes a little, the guitar a little, the piano a little, but nothing well. I'm definitely a singer first.
Yeah, well,
that's
great, man.
Right?
Thank you.
That's from Les Mis, right?
Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite songs, and they asked for that, so it was perfect.
Yeah, I can't believe that. That was so moving. That was so powerful. I love that song. That song makes me cry.
Thank you.
And you know something? I don't want to cause a rivalry, but you blow away that guy Caruso that was singing all over the fucking place after 9/11.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't mean yeah, but thank you. Thank you.
So if he wants to come on and challenge you to a sing-off, we'll have you both on.
He's a good guy, and actually, he and I have spoken and we've compared notes. He's a really good guy, and he's a great singer.
Is he still singing?
Yeah, he does. He does.
Or did he retire after he saw this video?
Thank you. No, he's in a trio called the American Tenor, or I'm sorry, the New York Tenors, with two other guys, and he does a lot of solo nights. He's still doing really well.
Wow. It's impressive.
Hey, You have your history as far as your acting work, mostly playing police, right? Cops, right?
Yeah, mostly playing cops. Every now and then I'll get like a something that's not a cop, so it's a double win. Like right now on the show, I'm not even playing a fireman. It's great. I'm just
You
just
play a
guy.
fireman? I would have that in my contract that I will not play a fireman.
I'm not on this, but I'm not playing a cop. It's every now and then, and I'm so grateful for the roles I've had. But every now and then when I get something that's not a cop, it's like even better.
Hey,
Wow.
the reason why I bring it up is because, especially recently now, there's a lot of stuff that I hear my voice still. There's a lot of like roles that you might have to go for. Like for example, you were in the movie The Way They See Us, or what is it?
When they see us, yeah.
When They See Us, and that movie, I don't know, like as far as like when we watched it, those who were law enforcement. It was it was disturbing on our end.
Right, sure.
It didn't really tell the story the way well, I tell you the story that I saw. I saw the story of their parents telling what happened. And
right.
Of course, when parents tell you what their kids did, they're going to be saints.
Right.
But my point is, I wanted to ask you, like, how does it feel to, take a role like that where you might know that this isn't going to show cops in a positive light, but you are a cop?
It was tough, and to be honest, I accepted it. I originally read for the role of Mike. Oh my God, who's
Mike Sheehan.
Mike Sheehan. Yeah, I read from Mike Sheehan.
Yeah.
So I kind of got through the door that way, and obviously I didn't get that part. But I got a call saying the director wanted to put me in there somewhere. So I couldn't, and I didn't know where she was going to put me, and I hadn't read the script yet. And I really thought they were going to approach it more open-mindedly. I had a lot of faith. I thought the director's phenomenal director, wonderful woman. We really hit it off. So she said, yeah, we can put you in somewhere. Would you like to be in it? I said, yes. And I still hadn't read all 4 scripts. I was only in a small part in episode 4. And I asked a lot of people at the time. I was working with some, really seasoned detectives, and I'm like, should I do this? Should I not? And the unanimous response was, we all know you're acting. So on that, they kind of gave me the go ahead, and I still, even on Facebook, I put out a post saying, what do you guys think really happened? Because I still try to keep an open mind. I've heard very conflicting things as to, depends on who you talk to. I still don't know all the facts. Very few do, but it was a tough decision, and I'm glad I did it. I met some great people. But I still haven't seen it. I've not seen the show, to be honest. I saw my scene. It's a small role in episode 4, a corrections officer. I bring the kid to get his phone call that he's getting out. But I haven't seen the rest of it.
Hey, listen, in all fairness, whenever I book a TV show, I only watch the scene I'm in too.
To all our fans, what he's referring to is a documentary on the Central Park 5 case, which was there was a lot of things left out. I'll put it that way. Telling a story through omission is not a way to tell a story.
Yeah, it was like a fantasy.
Yeah, they omitted everything. Like what were they doing in the park, for example? Were they ice skating? Were they playing lacrosse? Like they went in there to beat the shit out of people. That's what they did. Right. They left that out.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting thing. Whenever you I know, I'm an actor and Bill is an actor as well. If I'm going to read for a role and I can get it, I don't give a shit what they make me do. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
Except for make out with a guy, I'm not doing that.
It is tough,
and I do that in your regular life.
Anal maybe, but I'm not making out.
Listen, I just want to shout out to some of our people on the live chat. Cat in the Hat, Elijah Rasmussen, MC's Audio. You're one of our biggest fans. Ryan Investigative Group. Carl Dunzel, former ESU here. Woo! You know something? I just want to use the ESU limerick. When the public needs help, they call the police. When the police need help, they call ESU. Yes, I had to say that.
That's great.
With Cella Pranzo, Ryan, Cat in the Hat, I said already. Hoppy. Steve Gates. How come Bill Gates isn't watching us? OG Basel, Susan Lively Sue, Melody McAtee, and Peter Pranzo, of course. He's always here.
Oh, hey, Pete.
And MC's Audio. So you know Peter Pranzo, great guy.
Yeah,
all right.
Stephen Gates just seems to be saying hi, Mike. So,
is he your friend?
Oh yeah, another good guy. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. Hey, thanks, guy.
Oh, so let me ask you a little bit about your police career, because I retired in 2011. I mean,
Okay.
I guess you had about 10 years on the job at that point, right?
I came on in 98.
98. Okay, yeah. So you had about 12, 13 years on the job at that
Yeah.
point. And you wound up you were a Manhattan South guy, right?
Yeah, in Manhattan South, precinct of Midtown North.
See, what we refer to cops that work in Midtown South and Midtown North, we say their balls were dipped in butter from fucking day one, you know?
I've never heard that.
Because they were hooked up. They were hooked up, you know, and that's what we say. They don't like it. In fact, we even have dipped in butter on our police off the cuff coffee mugs. And that's who it's referring to.
Oh, that's what that means. I didn't know. I've seen those, but I didn't know what it meant. No, it was a very tough precinct because sometimes, you know, people would ask you for directions. You don't know. All directions are different. No directions are routine. They might ask you where a restaurant is or a Broadway show or post for a picture. It's not easy.
Did you use that ridiculous joke? Hey, do you know how to get to Lincoln Center? Yeah, practice, right?
I'm sure there was a moment I was able to use that because we actually had Carnegie Hall.
That's usually the joke. Hey, you know how to get to Carnegie Hall? Yeah, you practice.
It was a great place to be a cop. I tell you, I loved it.
When people knew that you were an actor and a singer, did civilians come up to you and say, "Could you sing a few bars of Danny Boy or something like that?" You know.
No, in fact, I kept it really quiet for I didn't really get back into acting until maybe 2002, 2003. So I kind of focused on being a cop for a bit. And also, I couldn't get a day off. There's no way to get a day off, so I couldn't be going to auditions and stuff like that.
Oh, I had friends that were bosses on the Midtown North desk, and they would get calls like this. Yes, Sergeant. Little Megan. Yes, that's my daughter, Megan. You denied her for a day off tomorrow. This is Chief so-and-so. Give her off.
Thankfully, it's very tough to be a boss at Midtown North. Luckily, as a cop, it's a lot more fun.
Yeah, because all the cops are hooked up, right?
A lot of them were, yeah.
Yeah. You see how measured he was in delivering that line. Yeah,
well, at the time, and I guess I could, and I kept this quiet too. But at the time, Howard Safer was commissioner, and my father was a drug enforcement agent, and they were partners.
Wow.
So, Commissioner Safer, let me pick my command.
Wow, that's I would if I knew what I know now, I definitely would go to Midtown North. You know, that's definitely the land of milk and honey down there. You know,
it is, and and it's it was a good group of guys who taught me the right way right from the start. You know, we really had to look sharp, act sharp. The paperwork was tight. You know, the arrests, we were busy. I mean, they weren't all murders, but we were busy.
Right. It's a busy robbery precinct and grand larceny precinct, Midtown North and South. You know,
yeah.
There's so much going on there.
Hey, let's talk about the juggling, because I started out in comedy. You know, I was a comic for 15 years while I was on the job. Also, you know, whatever acting parts I could get. So, and there was a lot of juggling. You mentioned that, you know, you didn't get involved with the acting until 2002 because you couldn't even get a day off. And I found myself like going to looking for units where I can be in my theater company, so work during the day, and when I comics, so I needed to work during. You know what I'm saying? So, how did you juggle? Because you were getting really decent roles and consistently. How did you?
Fuck! He just told you, Commissioner Safer. Yes, this is Michael Devine.
Hey, he didn't stay commissioner forever though. It went south very quickly.
Commissioner, when you leave, will you talk to the guy who's replacing you?
I would never do that. In fact, I never mentioned it. He actually, at my graduation, the police academy, Commissioner Safer brought it up. Nobody knew. I didn't say anything. So now I'm more open about it because it's so long ago. But no, I would never call him for anything like that.
You know, that's the smartest thing. Whenever someone asks me, like a new cop asks me, what's the biggest piece of advice you could give me? And I always say, loose lips sink ships. Keep your mouth shut. keep your mouth shut, right?
100%.
And even though I give that advice, I had the biggest fucking mouth there was.
Yeah, but it's so true, and for so many reasons too. You know, you have to hit that delicate balance where you want to sound like you know what you're talking about, but you can't.
Right.
You know it all. You want to be active, but not too active. You want to say the right thing at the right time, but but also know when to not say anything. More specifically, to answer the question, it took a long time for me to be able to, start auditioning and get off. I remember, I also had to work midnights when I became a sergeant. I chose midnight so I can have the days off. But I remember there was a period. It was right after, I guess, 2012 Superstorm Sandy. It, pun intended, when it rains, it pours. But
you should be a comic too. Add that on to your resume.
I could never do stand-up. No. But within the same week, I booked House of Cards in Baltimore and then Wolf of Wall Street in New York. And I was trying to just work out that was enough. And then a storm hit. I lived in Long Beach. My home was destroyed. I'm literally out directing traffic as a sergeant, because all the lights and the traffic lights in Lower Manhattan were out. So I was literally directing traffic, not knowing if I could, agree to a Martin Scorsese film because I couldn't get a day off. Thankfully, it all worked out because I had great bosses who have always been very generous. And then even like right until the end, I only retired, in September. I had great bosses in the detective bureau, like something like The Undoing. I had to take almost 4 months off. That was a long shoot. And I mean, I came in when we weren't shooting, so I didn't burn every vacation day. But I had, thankfully, thanks Lieutenant Russo. Where'd
you work in the bureau?
I was in Chief of D's for most of my career.
Oh, out of the building.
Out of the building, yeah. I was in the building. Once I went in the building in 2007, and I didn't leave till I retired.
I used to have a joke too. People say, "What do you want to do on this job?" I say, "I want to go to the bureau." They go, "Where?" I go, "The equipment bureau."
That's really good.
So our paths must have crossed because I worked for Pulaski, so I was always up on the 14th floor like every day. I was in the training unit.
Oh wow! I must have seen you. I was in Chief of D's investigations, and then during Pulaski, I got brought upstairs as the ops coordinator for the bureau. So I was there for the tail end of Pulaski. So I sat right in front of his office. I probably signed off on your travel.
There was a bodybuilding chick there. Was there? He used to, you know what I'm talking about?
Ooh, that was maybe before my time in his office. A bodybuilding chick.
Yeah, she was in great shape, man.
I can't think of who that was. I got there, luckily, not.
Officer.
I wasn't branded one of Pulaski's guys, thankfully, because when the new chief came in, normally, the regimes changed. They
clean house.
They do clean house, and luckily, I was new enough where I was not. And he was great to us, and I know he's got a history, but he was great to us. That was a great staff. But
hey, Bill, you know how it happened? Pulaski walks up there and he goes, "Who's that guy?" And that guy goes, "Oh, that's Patriots." And then he goes, "Oh, okay." And then he's the actor. He's Safer's kid.
That's right. That's right.
I lasted through. I got there under Brown, and then I was upstairs under Pulaski, Boyce, Shea, and then Chief Harrison came in and brought in 30 people with him. So I didn't last long under Chief Harrison.
See, that's another reason why you say you keep your mouth shut, because you could say, "I can't stand that guy," and he could be related to 10 other people on the job, right?
Yes, or he could be, your parallel now, and then he's your boss next month, or
right, exactly.
Yeah, you get a huge.
And I always stepped on my proverbial Johnson opening my mouth,
I did too a couple times as a rookie, and I always thank those Midtown North guys. And luckily, I didn't have to be put in my place per se, but I was smart enough to even something as simple. And I remember asking one of the other sectors, and they kind of chewed us out for not saying thank you. We wanted to go to meal. They took a job, and I didn't say thank you on the radio. Something as simple as that, and he gave me a talking to. Because I didn't say thank you. But I'm so thankful for that now, because that was a way that he was teaching me the right way to do it.
That's some old time cop shit, like sector courtesy and
Yeah. But I was so thankful for that.
If you're in the squad and you're out, and investigating, and you're heading back in, if you don't call the office up and say, anybody want anything? We're coming back. Oh, forget it. Forget it. Oh, this guy. Oh, okay, one way.
That's right. They have streets named after you, you know.
What did they tell you? One and pull the gate down?
I always love to tell this Midtown North story, though.
I made that mistake one time. I came back. I was doing a little catching up on some paperwork. I came back in with a cup of coffee. Oh, well, where's my coffee? You got? I don't know. Did you get coffee? I didn't get coffee.
You do that once and you learn.
Yeah. I had the investigative detail. I think in 2008 or 2009. I had all these detectives from the north, and there were these it was so cold that night. There were these 5 frozen terrorists. They were actually almost like ice pops. And some of them from Intel said they look suspicious. So we were the investigative unit. So I said, well, let's just bring them into Midtown North and we'll debrief them, you know. And we were all happy to get the hell off the street because it was so cold. So I bring them in there and some detective from Midtown North goes, hey, Sarge, you know, we got a huge grand larceny case here. You know, he didn't want me there. I said, I don't give a fuck what you got. I go, I'm the sergeant on the New Year's Eve detail investigative. I don't give a shit if you got, you know, Bonnie and Clyde in here. I'm coming here and debriefing these prisoners. He found out who I was. That's Cannon from the north.
Yeah. There's that too, yes.
Like, are you kidding me? Like he was trying to protect his territory, you know? He didn't want us messing up his caviar on his desk, you know?
I wonder who that was.
Tim Acosta says Manhattan North kept the delegates very busy. Is that true? Pink Nanum, hi from Oxford, UK. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Wow.
Mike, you thought you were coming on just some regular podcast, right? We got people listening.
Oxford, that's fantastic.
Mike, you must have a lot of Irish fans because you look Irish as all hell. You know, you get people from Dublin and from all these Irish places, right?
That'd be fantastic. I did find my way to an Irish pub here today. Butch McLean's, I think it was. I found myself in an Irish pub here in Chicago in a snowstorm. It was fantastic.
You don't drink, do you?
No. It's tea actually, but it's tough to find Magners on tap. I was in my glory.
Hey,
I should remember the name of the place. Butch something.
Hey, how far away from you from not having to audition anymore? You had to say, like,
not very far at all. In fact, you know, there is that whole offer only thing, and I don't think so. In fact, I learned recently, and this was very comforting to me in a weird way. I heard that even Nicole Kidman, she has to audition.
Wow.
And I heard her being interviewed recently for Backstage, and she was talking craft, and it was very interesting. And she did say that she has to audition, and then she doesn't always get whatever part she wants. She may not be right for it, but hearing that she needs to audition was very reassuring to me because I don't know if I'll ever get to that.
That's pretty amazing, right? Mike, could we sing a duet? You just pick up on this one, all right? It's Christmas Eve, babe, in the drunk tank. An old man said to me, won't see another one. And then he sang a song. The rare old Mountain Dew. I turned my face away and dreamed about you. I sang with Mike Devine, yeah.
And the boys of the NYPD.
That's the best line, right?
Isn't
We're
that a great
singing
line?
Galway Bay, and the bells were ringing out for Christmas Day.
I don't know what
Great song.
That's by the Pogues, man. That's a great, great song.
Yeah.
And of course, the line, they had to clean up that line. You're a drunk, you're a punk, you're an old slut on junk, laying there almost dead on a drip in that bed. You scumbag, you maggot, you cheap.
Yeah. I knew that song first from the Irish Tenors, and they did a very, cleaned up, very classic first class version of that. It was not the Pogues.
Yeah. Well, Shane McGowan, I mean, it's funny how he can go off key but still sound good.
Yeah.
And he goes off key a lot. If you notice, he does.
If some of the best singers, it's all about character. It's not classical training. It's
it's amazing.
It's about that character in your voice.
Yeah.
Did you do much musical theater?
No, I didn't. I mean, in college, I did my degrees in.
Where did you go to?
I went to Montclair State in New Jersey, which had a really good drama program. And getting a degree in acting is a fun way to spend a college education. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, we did a lot of musical theater there. But I really haven't. You know, I would love to return to it, because also all the time I was a cop, I could never take off time to do theater. So now that I actually am retired and I could do theater, it's not there yet.
You can do McCluskey in West Side Story.
Officer McCluskey.
Officer Krupke.
Krupke. That's right.
Yeah, maybe one day. Although he doesn't sing, so what's the point? But
He has a number.
Do you remember Cop? They sing about him, but he doesn't sing.
Really?
That's right.
Yeah. It's the kids singing about him, but he himself doesn't sing.
Oh man.
I was in West Side Story when I was in 7th grade. That was my theater debut. I played a part called Big Deal. That was the name of the part.
I remember Big Deal.
Yeah, that was my part.
Yeah. And Riff Raff, and there were
Riff. Tony, of course, was the biggest part. You know, and then Bernardo was the Sharks and the Jets, right?
And
when you're a jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day.
I feel like I'm at a bar. Like
I should be in a gin mill right now drinking, not on the podcast.
I was almost in the Spielberg version of that. They called to check my availability, but I was stuck on The Undoing. They asked if I was available for that.
Oh, what a horrible thing. You were stuck on The Undoing.
I know it's not stuck, but I couldn't. It was a 2-day commitment. I could only commit to one. So I couldn't do it, but I would have loved to have been in Spielberg's West Side Story. Could you imagine that?
Wow.
And it was a small role, but yeah, I would have been all over that. That would have been great.
Good problems to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not complaining. But
Mike, I read that you came on the job. You were 26 years old, and when you came on, you said, "Oh, I'm going to only do like 4 years." And I'll be 30 years old. And I'll get off this job. And then you wound up doing 22 years, right?
Yeah, no, I did. That is true. I kind of, I said, yeah, okay. Let me give it till I'm 30. Yeah, I said, let me give it till I'm 30, and then I'll find something else to do. And I was working for the shows in management. I had a great job. I was working. I was on tour with the show Miss Saigon, and but I had this higher calling. I just felt this. I wanted to be a cop really bad. I wanted to follow in my family's footsteps. So I gave up this job making more than a 26-year-old should be making. And so that's where I said, I just have to do this. I have to do it. And I said, let me give it till I'm 30. And that was, it lasted 22 years. Wow. I'm almost 50.
Hey, let's go back a little bit. You're a 3rd generation law enforcement in your family, and your father was shot in the line of duty and spent many years paralyzed. Do you think that you wanted to make your father proud, and that's why you went into the police department?
I don't know if he would have been proud of me regardless of what I did. I don't know. Maybe a psychologist could tell me that there's some reasoning in there. Maybe there was just some.
Well, that's what I am. I'm a psychologist.
Yeah. Then I'll spill it all, and then I hope I don't have to give you a copay. I don't know. I wouldn't say like I felt there was I keep saying there was a higher call, but maybe there was a job unfinished. Not that fighting crime will ever be finished, but I just felt like it's as you can tell, because I'm struggling to describe it. It's I don't know. It just the simplest way is to describe it as it was a higher calling, and I kind of wish No, I don't want to say I wish I didn't do it, because I have no regrets whatsoever. But it was not it was a hard decision at the time.
Your father was a federal agent, and
yeah,
he got shot, and but yet you were still brave enough also to take the job. I mean, you were a theater actor. You wouldn't think that a theater actor would be that brave. I mean, you have a witness right there what could happen. You still took the job. My
poor mother, and my brother's a cop too. He retired as well. He was investigator with the special narcotics prosecutor. So my poor mother, she's been doing Hail Marys for, since the late 70s, but she can finally lay up on that. But yeah, I don't know what it is. I never felt, super courageous or brave. I just felt this was the right thing to do. And, we've all been scared and, while on the job, but I still felt there was never a moment where I said, I don't feel like I'm doing the right thing. I felt out of my element, and I didn't always click, I didn't always feel like one of the guys. Well, I shouldn't say that, but they sure treated me as if I was, one of the guys, but it was just, it just felt like the right thing to do at the right time. And looking back, it was.
Mike, it's funny. You said something about being scared. And if you're never scared on the police department, then you're crazy, because
of course,
or else you're not getting involved,
Yeah. And I never realized, especially when you see it from the inside, these are not, superheroes. They're real. They bleed, they cry. We live, we die. And that's one of the things I'm so grateful for having this point of view where I see police officers as humans, extremely human, and all that entails, flaws and all. And I also never realized these are not it's as much as macho as they can be as lion-hearted and soft-hearted as they can be courageous. And I've seen some terror. We all have, but I remember looking back, there were things that I saw which destroyed some cops I know. And I won't even get into stuff like that, but it destroyed them. And I saw grown men break down in tears, fall to their knees. So it's that, whether it's fear or it's just being human on steroids. We see such highs and lows. No wonder we all drink.
Well, that's why it bothers me when there's so many attacks on the profession of policing coming from the political landscape, because in my 27 years on the police department, I saw some of the greatest people in this world. And as a profession, it's a hell of a lot better than 99% of all other professions, as far as having good people, honest people, people that will go the extra yard. If you compare us with politicians, it's like heaven and hell,
Absolutely.
And we're heaven.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons I do get very defensive, but whether you see one horrendous, whether it's a mistake or an atrocity, one or two a year, which don't define us. It's the 1,000 good things. Especially, I loved working at headquarters because I would see, from the boss's point of view, 1,000 good things happen a day.
Right.
But no one sees that.
Well, that's why it was nice to see that out of the acting community, Denzel Washington said, "I don't care for people who put down the police and soldiers who sacrifice their lives so that we have the freedom to complain about what they do." And it was nice to see finally somebody coming out of the entertainment business and saying a kind word for law enforcement.
Yeah, because I saw so many of them that attacked us during the summer, with the riots and all that other stuff. So many people jumped on the defund the police bandwagon and all of that stuff. And it's really hurtful to have people that have this platform, and they may not have the brains to use the platform, but they use it and they talk a lot of nonsense against the police,
Hey, you know what?
It's good to hear that.
Mike, here's another theory that I have. I have a theory that you became a cop because you wanted to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else's daddy.
Oh, maybe subconsciously I saw that.
I'm telling you, because if you really think about it, if my father came home and he was paralyzed from the waist down, and I saw this, the last thing I would want to do is I'd be scared to death of that. So something like, you always say you had a higher calling, but I think it might have been that you want to make sure that that doesn't happen to anybody else's daddy, not underneath your watch, whenever I have a feeling that was in the back of your head somewhere, subconsciously.
Perhaps, it's, again, it goes back to, the nobility of the profession. You walk out of the precinct and you're willing to die for a stranger, or you're willing to die for another cop.
Who are you talking about?
I think anybody in uniform, if you just
Mark's not including himself.
Who are you talking about? I was a cop for 20 years, man. I never left there. So I'm willing to die for any one of these people.
You may say that, but you can be shot. Yeah, you can be shot sitting in an RMP reading the newspaper.
Happened to I work with Lou, police officer Lou.
Oh my God, yeah.
I worked at 300 Gold Street, and he used to sit at the desk every day, get him coffee. And then one time he goes out, look at what happens.
Yeah. So I think even though just putting on a uniform and being outside is the acknowledgement that you could die today, but you're still willing to do it. We probably don't think. I intellectualize it a bit more or emotionalize it a bit more, but I've defended cops by saying just that, I've been met with, no, not every cop is willing to die for a stranger. I'm like, well, if they're wearing the uniform and they identify as a cop, that's all it takes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
There's that whole thing, warrior versus civil servant, they pushed cops to be more of the community policing style cop in the 21st century than the warrior, the street crime, the anti-crime, the ESU, the people that go into police work to get involved in the action part of it, But it seems like they push more to be, the public servant, the social worker type cop, which is, it's not really easy to do either,
No, you're asked to be everything to everybody, and it could switch on a dime.
Yeah. And Mike, what's your favorite copism of all times? And I know that's hard, to think of it. I'll give you mine. 1,000 attaboys don't equal one shit. I love that expression.
I got to think about that. That's good. I've never heard that.
You never heard? Come on, you had to have heard that one.
And I love our language.
Well, Mark always says home run. That's a ground ball. All these
Ground ball.
copisms, right? Come on.
There's some great ones in the bag and the big clocks.
Yeah, the big clock.
Square badge.
I used to love, you had the most complicated case, or just say it was one of those tractor trailers, and it hits the bottom of the bridge, and and also there's 4 cars that get hit by that tractor. It's a mess, and then some freaking veteran car. It's a ground ball, kid.
Yeah, or
it's a Megillah.
Or it's Megillah. The opposite of ground ball was Megillah.
It's a Megillah. Yeah, it's a Megillah. Oh, I love this one. That boss is a shake box.
Shake box.
I love that one.
The boss called Shaky G.
The Lucky Saturday. It's
you're gonna think of a million of them when you're off the air, but now I put you on the pressure on you.
You did, and I mean we've got our own jargon, but as far as a saying, I'd have to think about it, and I'm surprised I don't have one off the cuff.
That's who we are. We're police off the cuff.
I should have one off the cuff.
We had to throw the word police in front of our name because so many people had that name off the cuff. And then
what happened was we produced something early on for a magazine called New York Natives, and the web series was called Off the Cuff. And I brought Bill in with me, and that's how we started. But they lost funding. We never thought to secure the name. And then afterwards, several years later, you go online and then everybody's got a show called Off the Cuff.
Off the Cuff, yeah.
No, this is perfect. And I've listened to your show. I enjoy it.
Thank you. We try to get the most eclectic guests. In fact, Joe Lisi recommended we reach out to you. He's great.
Cool.
I think right now he has the lead as the most successful cop actor of all time, but you'll catch up because you're young.
Just fine.
Yeah.
No, he's great.
He's done a lot of stuff, right?
He has. In fact, I got my SAG card through Third Watch in 2003, and he was already established on that show. He already had 50 IMDb credits just when I was getting my SAG card. But I remember, he was on that at the time.
Yeah, he told us that he made more money one day playing a captain on that show than he did being a real captain on the NYPD for a year.
Yeah, that could be. That could be.
That's crazy.
And David Zayas and I were at the Midtown North together. He's done well too.
Yeah, he was on Oz. I liked him on Oz. Remember that show, Oz?
Yeah.
That was
He
pretty.
left the NYPD because he got the contract. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a weird thing too. I mean, that's really why I started stand-up. I booked this show called Delaventura. I booked another show before that, and then I was up for third watch for a main character when they were originally casting, and I lost it right at the very end. And I got so nervous that I was like, "What am I gonna tell my ex-wife's family that I'm quitting the police department, a steady job, so I can be an actor? Because I'm gonna get one of these things at some point." I was in phenomenal shape. I was booking everything anyway, so I started stand-up comedy then. And I was like, I don't want to do any more acting. I'm going to be a comedian. So I just, it was like a fear of like success in a way. And then I just started something brand new. And then somewhere doing stand-up after 10 years, I was like, you know what? I could do both.
You could. And actually, they feed off each other very well.
But there was that fear of, what am I going to, I can't quit. I'm going to have to stay.
And it's also the fear of the uncertainty. I think doing stand-up, correct me if I'm wrong, but you feel like you have more power over what you're doing, what you're saying, when, rather than, and you don't have to cast yourself for the role.
Yeah, it's more often too. Like if you really need your ego massaged, like from acting, if you want to get that tenfold, then you do stand-up because you could do it 4, 5, 6 times a night. So it's like constant, like, oh, you're the best, you're the greatest.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? That's
I felt that way when I auditioned for Pornhub, but then I got turned away. Detective Johnny Wad.
Is there an Irish Pornhub? Because I think
yeah, there should be, right?
You'd be huge on Irish Pornhub.
That's right. Irish Pornhub. That would be great.
Why don't we do a shout out to Brandon Shelton, live by the badge, die by the badge. Dedicated when you put that uniform on, most respect to all law enforcement officers. Steve Gates, there are cops and there are police officers. Edward Kelly, I think you're right, Mark. Yeah, anybody who's out there, agree with me or my friend. Cat in the Hat. We got a bunch of people. Jenna Bishop, hubby still sweats out the sheets at night. I don't know what that means, but it sounds sexy.
A lot of people from all over the world, they write comments. They say, we love your New York accents. They're so sexy, But then when I go to audition for shit, they say, your accent's forget about it.
It's like you don't have much of. I don't detect much of an accent from you.
No. When I play a cop, though, I start talking like this because I just which one of my coworkers will I channel?
Did you grow up in Jersey?
Born in Queens, but mostly I grew up in New Jersey.
So that's probably why you don't have the thick New York accent.
Yeah, that's probably why. It can come out if I want to, but I luckily never developed.
I remember I went to college in Buffalo, and Buffalo State College. I had this French literature professor, and he says, "What's your accent from?" I said, "I'm from New York." He goes, No. He goes, "Not New York." He goes, "Where are you from?" I go, "Long Island." He goes, "That's it. It's a Long Island accent."
Interesting. See, I couldn't tell the difference.
Discern the difference,
I couldn't tell Brooklyn from Queens, Bronx, Long Island. It's all just New York to me.
Yeah.
When I started acting, I wanted to lose my regional dialect, and I was taking money, and I went to a speech therapist. I don't know what you would call it, but this lady had worked with everybody. When you go to this lady's office in the city, she had pictures of Meryl Streep, Robert, all these people. And I went there for 3 lessons, and she gave me my money back. And she's like, I'm like, what are you talking about? And she goes, you don't practice enough. I said, I do practice when I'm home. I can't practice at work. What am I going to be like? Thou art under arrest. Come hither.
But something, Mark, some of the greatest actors, you think they ever told Sean Connery, "Oh, you got to lose that accent," right? Did they tell Liam Neeson, you got to lose that Irish accent? No, these guys, I guess they've surpassed where anyone could tell them anything about their accent, right?
I'm never going to do Shakespeare, but if you want a guy from New York,
we got you.
Yeah. That's good though that you don't have the accent, Michael. Especially being a cop, because a cop has it worse to the 10th degree.
Whenever I play a cop, I bring it on. I bring it out of nowhere. But it is it is a good skill for an actor to be able to lose it. Like I don't know if I would have been able to have booked, this role in Chicago. I don't know, having a New York accent, I really wouldn't fit in this universe.
But they have Chicago accents too. I can hear the Chicago accents.
And I've tried. I can't quite do it. And I thought it would have been cool maybe to try that. I would have a tough time. I could learn it, but it's tough.
So I think they're just prejudiced against us from New York because we have that cockiness, and they want to hold something against us, hold the accent,
There's a lot they can hold against us.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot more than the accent. How about my hairbag? Do you use that in the acting world?
Absolutely.
That actor's an old hairbag.
An old hairbag. Oh, it's some great language. It is, and it never died away. So it's passed on from generation to generation. There's so many things that are not, and I love that. It's not. Maybe there are a few things that have gone away, but even just in the couple of decades I did it, all those one-liners and the vernacular,
the Copisms, right?
The Copisms. They'll be around for much longer than we will.
Yeah, that's for sure. 4x4s.
4x4s. Yep.
Only a cop knows what that is, right? I work 4 to 12, and then I drink from 12 to 4. That's a 4x4.
Another 4 hours. And
explain it to our audience,
And even the old one, and this was before my time, but what's the 10-8? Remember 10-8?
No, I don't remember that
10-2 with a six-pack.
Oh,
that's a really old one.
10-8. Well, that's it. We were talking about the last show. A flute. You know what a flute is?
No, what's that?
A flute is this was the old time desk officer. He wanted to disguise his drinking, so you put his whiskey in a Coke bottle. So if the desk officer said, "Go get me a flute," you got him some whiskey and you put it in a Coke bottle.
Oh my God, that is old school.
That's real old school stuff. Yeah.
Look at the desk.
That's crazy.
Smoke in the precinct?
What's that?
You can smoke in the precinct.
That's right.
I do. Not that I ever smoked, but I do remember that.
I was in the squad, and just doing my paperwork, smoking cigarettes.
Well, that only stopped under. I was going to say that only stopped under Bloomberg, right? So
yeah,
not that long ago.
But the thing is, if you had a homicide perp and he was confessing, you threw those rules out the window. Yeah, of course you could smoke.
Hey, Mike, let me ask you a question. I did 20. I had a one-man show, a solo show that I wrote, and I did it in the Fringe. It's called 20 and Out. See, I was doing the acting and the comedy the whole time I was on the job, just like you. But once I got to my 20th year, I knew I can get out. Why not just take the money and run? Why did you stay an extra 2 years?
It came down. It came down to finances, actually, because I got promoted to Detective Sergeant, SDS. But in my 19th year, and it took, I got to remember the math, but it took 3 years, I believe, to hit top pay. So that pushed me into a 21st year. And then I had to stay a year at top pay. So when I retired, I would get half of top pay as an SDS.
Love this guy, man.
Yeah. So
and you get the what is that? Every year you do past 20, you get the 60th. So you got
the 60th.
You got half and 2 60ths. Plus you had SDS pay, right?
Yeah, actually. But when I toward the end, I went just for a few months at DCPI. I ended my career at DCPI, so I lost the SDS and became an SA. But the money all stayed the same.
Yeah, it's the same.
But that's why it was my 19th year that I made SDS. So it was a bit of a commitment if I wanted to capitalize on the money.
Well, that was good. That was smart that you did that.
Thank you, Chief Boyce.
Who has better insurance, the police department or SAG?
I've never used SAG. I've never used SAG.
Oh, so you're using the police department, GHI and HIP and
so
all
to answer
that
your question, I've never thankfully had to use SAGs. And I only say thankfully because I'm double blessed, but because the police department is just so good, I've never had to use SAG. But
this is my dilemma. I never even had the option because you have to make over 10 grand. I never made over 10 grand in a year. I always I make 2 or 3 grand. Maybe this year was probably the best one. I was probably at 5 grand total, but I never even came close to getting over that 10 grand threshold.
Yeah, but if you use the police department dentists, you're going to lose all your teeth because any dentist that takes that plan is making about $25K a year, you know?
You're right. The dental is not as great as people think.
I love that when a real cheap cop is like, I'm way up in Monroe. Does anyone know a dentist that takes the plan? You're like, dude, go into your pocket and pay for a dentist in a mile from you. Are you kidding me?
You know,
notoriously, that never changes, the cheapness.
Yeah.
I got to check out the show that you just did with Nicole Kidman, because I was watching an interview, and you mentioned that it was the best. Like, you mentioned this moment there where you were acting with Nicole Kidman and you forgot all your outside surroundings, and that was the first time that it's ever happened to you in a scene, and how she put you in. Can you describe that tell us about the show, what it's about first?
It's a murder mystery, basically a whodunit set in New York City. Hugh Grant and Nicole Kidman are living supposedly the perfect life. They're both doctors. She's a psychologist. They have a 12-year-old son who goes to a fancy prep school. And early in the first episode, one of the other mothers at their son's school is found murdered at the very time her husband, Hugh Grant, disappears. So it's basically her perfect life unraveling. That's one interpretation of the undoing, is this perfect life coming undone. And I, along with Edgar Ramirez, play the two detectives assigned to the case. It's tough to even talk about because you should kind of go into it blindly and not know anything about it, because it's
tonight when we get off.
I watched I think the last scene where you wind up on the bridge.
Don't watch that. Was that
Why
bridge? Are you watching that?
Oh, but was that bridge upstate?
Well, we shouldn't even. If you haven't seen this,
I'm not giving anything away. But was that the Bear Mountain Bridge?
No, it was in Kingston, New York, up near Woodstock.
Okay, so it's
the Wirt Street Bridge. Yeah.
Okay.
But did you hopefully because
I watched more than that, but I saw it too.
Watch it tonight. I'm starting tonight.
Yeah. Don't avoid if anyone, and also anyone listening, avoid spoilers, because it takes you on a ride, and it's everything you're being shown is all by design. Just go with it.
Okay.
How was Hugh Grant? Is he a good guy?
He was phenomenal. He's such a nice guy.
Can I tell you? I got a good Hugh Grant story.
Oh, do you? What's that?
Okay, so I was doing extra work on Mickey Blue Eyes. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
And I was doing a party scene. There's a scene where I guess he's getting married, and so the girl they teamed me up with was a knockout. She was a blonde, a little bit past her prime, but she had this low cut dress, and I was using her to introduce her. I would take her with me on the breaks, and I would be like, hey, because Jimmy Caan was in the movie and Burt Young, so I brought her to Burt Young's trailer, and I'm like, hey, Burt Young, did you meet Hope yet? And he's like, no. And he says, come, let's go introduce him to Jimmy. So we went to Jimmy Caan's trailer. So now we're doing this scene, and Hugh Grant is coming up the stairs, and I go, hey, they want a break. I go, hey, Hugh, did you meet Hope yet? He goes, no, I haven't. So I just step aside, and he starts talking to Hope. And then all of a sudden, it never dawned on me, but Liz Hurley was the producer of that movie. Sitting down, and she's underdressed. She's got a baseball cap on. She's just watching the freaking cat, the take. And I can see smoke coming out of her ears, like upstairs.
Thanks to you.
And he's talking to Hope now, like she was a knockout on the set. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's noticed her. So I could see the smoke, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm responsible for this.
It could have been all back to you. They did split up shortly thereafter, I think, right?
Yeah. Have you seen the pictures of her lately?
She looks incredible.
It hasn't changed a bit.
No, I don't know what's going on there.
There's a couple of women that are just. Her, Sofia Vergara, to me, Salma Hayek, they're just they're like perfection.
Yeah.
Who's that older English actress that's like in her 70s and she still looks amazing? I can't think of her name.
I can think of a couple, but they don't. I wouldn't say they look.
I'm saying for her age, she looks amazing.
Diana Rigg just died. Judi Dench.
No.
Maggie Smith.
Negative.
can't think of
Negative K.
negative K. Actually, as you were saying, as he was describing an older woman, I was thinking there was a cop thing. Oh, she's got city miles on her. Or, someone's been messing with her odometer. So
One of my loves was like, she looks good from far, but she's far from good.
yeah,
that's a good one. And you ladies could say the same shit about us if you'd like.
Oh yes, especially present company. But,
that's right.
Getting back to the question, I almost forgot. She put so much preparation, and actually, she came to set almost in character. She's like somewhat method actor, where you stay in character the whole time, but she put so much mental and emotional preparation into the scenes where you couldn't help it. And of course I had all the lines down, so it was just, she just drew me right in. And it was for one of the first times where you stop thinking about the crew and the camera's there and you got to hit your mark and you're waiting for the next line and you're not listening to what they're saying, but it was, it really was amazing. I learned so much from her. I mean, I always kind of joked I had to bring my A game when I really only had like a B game, but I left there a better actor than when I came on, and a lot is attributed to her. She's such a good actress, and she took a lot of risks and a couple things where she knew it was not the right choice, but she approached the scene from different angles. She knew when it was the right choice, but just to sit back and watch. And actually, I'm taking all the scenes I have to do here. It's very emotional. This is one of the first times I have to cry on camera, and I don't want to, put drops in my eyes.
Yeah, but you used to do that when they denied you 28 for the weekend.
It was back when my mom said I had to go to school. I can whip up some tears for this, Sergeant.
Yeah, you can just think about my 4th of July weekend was canceled.
Wow, I wish I was a better actor back then, but yeah, for the first time, I have to I'm playing a man whose life is completely destroyed. His house, his wife is dying, his son has run away, and I have a scene where I have a breakdown, and I'm trying to apply some of the things that I learned from her, and I feel like I always came from like the Nike school of acting, like just do it, kind of just do it, and now I think I'm evolving a bit. I'm actually taking it a little more seriously.
That's amazing. I took I'm like a rookie actor. I've maybe been doing it for like 5 years, but I know that like in class, when you play a part that requires a lot of you emotionally, it takes a lot out of you. I remember I did a scene from Ordinary People.
Wow, yeah.
He's telling his wife that he wants to leave her because she's, and I remember I had tears running down my face during it. I was like, wow, how did I do that?
Yeah. In fact, it's, oh, sorry, go ahead, Mark.
I said, what I miss? I used to, I was working in the police academy and I was doing CIT, which is crisis intervention. And we used to act out mental illnesses, right? Now, I was the only guy who was retired from the job that was acting there. But because I was an actor, James Tech put me in, and you do these scenarios and they pull cops out of the audience and they got to come in. So, for example, you're responding to a burglary. It's not really a burglary. It's a guy who's he's early onset. What is it called? Not amnesia.
Dementia. Alzheimer's.
Yeah, Alzheimer's or dementia. And he's at the house he used to live in. He's trying to get in with the keys, whatever, but he's disheveled. I played suicide cop, and I'm on a bench. I'm playing a song. That's something I came up with. It's funny how that could get the tears rolling. You play a song, and the two cops come in, and because the neighbors are complaining because I'm drinking on this bench, and then I start using police lingo with them, and they got to talk me off of. And I got 2 guns on me. The whole thing is the scene. You got to ask me if I have my guns on me. I tell you I'm on the job. You confirm that, or you got to check me for guns. Just crying every week on cue, I got used to it.
Wow.
Yeah. And I never wanted to force it, but sometimes you just want to mess around with it too. Be like, do I really have it? Can I do it?
Yeah, and it sounds crazy. I've been practicing here because I don't shoot that scene for another week. And I don't even want to take myself there because it is exhausting.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to get to that. But
Yeah.
there are also some tricks. You can kind of, if you put your face in as if you were crying, your body will kind of follow. It'll react toward it. So there are some tricks to it. But I always say it goes back to like in grammar school, when you pretend to be sick, stay home from school, and you'd be acting sick all day. By the time the day was over, you felt sick.
Yeah.
Not even that, calling in sick to work. It takes me a half hour to get half hour, 40 minutes. The way I go in, I go all in. I'm a method.
You're a method E-day.
Yeah, it takes me like a half hour to clear up.
Mike, do you still once in a while take acting classes, or you don't do that anymore?
No, I do. In fact, I took one online just a week or so ago, but it's been a while, just because I have so much downtime.
Yeah.
I took actually a musical theater class, because I've not been involved in musical theater for 2 decades. So I took an auditioning for musical theater, and I took a prep before the class. So I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I guess it's probably good just to keep your chops up, right? To take a class.
Yeah, and a lot has changed in the business, especially that angle of musical theater. I don't know a lot about. So as far as just what they're looking for at the audition, and just it's something I'm unfamiliar with. Like movies, TV, I kind of got that, and I did a lot of on-the-job training. I don't know if I would take. It depends who it is, and then there's so many opportunities now. You can get some amazing teachers, Broadway Tony winners who are, home in their living room. That'll actually, the musical theater class I took was a woman who was in Les Miserables on Broadway in a couple different roles. So phenomenal, like legendary actress, and so she's available now. So it's a good time to start taking classes.
Wow.
What I have the master class. My girl got it for me for last year.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, and you get like whatever you want. Like I've watched Aaron Sorkin's masterclass a couple of times.
Cool.
And the Scorsese has one, and then for other stuff, just for creative writing ones, I've watched those. And then you got some that you watch just because you want to learn more about it. But it's the best of the best in their field, giving like a TED talk for like for 5 hours.
Yeah, well, I got to check that out.
Yeah, you can't finish it in one day. You know what I'm saying? You watch the whole, like Aaron Sorkin's one is great. Like, just blew me away.
Hey, Mark, aren't you supposed to do a hot sauce commercial twice?
Yeah, here we go. Ladies, listen up, guys and gals. We are sponsored by the best hot sauce in the world. Silk City hot sauce is made from small batches of pure ingredients. Locally grown peppers are the foundation of every bottle of Silk City hot sauce. There are several flavors from mild to hot. You got to see the label. Here's the killer hot one.
Oof.
Great artwork on it. They have many different flavors from mild to hot. Go to silkcityhotsauce.com and please enter the code OTC for off the cuff, OTC for a 15% discount. And if you do that, you'll get a free bottle of cherry sriracha. That is our first sponsor, and his name is Jeff Levine. And we really appreciate the fact that he jumped on board. We had a bunch of other people that were wanting to sponsor with us, and then we were giving it to somebody, and they were doing nothing with it. So if you were one of the people, we're still on the air. We'll take on sponsors. If you want to join us and maybe have us read your commercial, and go to our email address, which is off the cuff, otcpod, P-O-D, 1@gmail.com, otcpod1@gmail.com. So we're back.
Let me just shout out a bit to our live chat people. Tim Acosta, thank you. He asked a question actually of you, Mike. He said, what recommendations does Mike have to someone looking to get into acting? How do they approach it?
I might have a question myself. It depends on, you really want to start learning the craft, because it is a craft and it's real. And once you kind of have an idea of what you're doing, and also you need to understand or decide if you want to be film actor, TV actor versus a theater actor. I think the style of acting is very different. Once you've decided what it is that you want, I would take classes and learn the craft. And then as you're learning the craft, you sort of evolve and then learn the business shortly thereafter. And then, you know, as far as movies and TV, you really can't book, you know, some of the good stuff. And actually, I recommend doing background acting on and get on a set that way. That's always a good way. You can get a SAG card that way. And then, you know, the goal should be to learn the craft, get in the union, get an agent.
There's really so much to it, Mike. Like you just said, I mean, you gave sound advice there, but there's a big learning curve on how to do it when you first start out.
It really is. And then there's so much on the technical end. And it's really about finding that delicate balance between the emotional and the technical. It's, again, I look back, kind of roll my eyes at the young Mike Devine saying, "Oh, I'm from the Nike School of Acting, just do it." And some of the earlier roles I had, where, you know, the one-liner, the body's this way, you could get away with that.
I had that joke in my act.
What's that?
How did you screw that up? That's the line. Like, it's a joke about how I finally got Law and Order SVU, and the people are like, "Oh, I had auditioned for Law and Order for over 20 years, at least twice a year, and I never got it. And a lot of times it was to play a cop, and I was a cop, and it was one line, like, the body's over there. Like, how do you fuck?" So, and they finally gave me a part, like 2 years ago.
Excellent. Well, good. Congratulations. Yeah. It's when you finally stop acting. It's funny with Law and Order. I went on a few, and again, my training was in theater, so my acting was fairly large. Yeah. Just because you're often playing to a large house, you have to be that big. And I wasn't booking because I would often play to the sides of the room that I'm in. But it was Law and Order. The casting director brought me in, and it was a pre-read, so we're just talking like having a conversation, and she went right from the conversation, you know, "Oh, where do you live?" to "What are your lines?" And it was something like "The body's this way." And so I delivered it in a very conversational manner with zero acting, because we went right from the conversation. And that was the first Law and Order that I booked. So it is about, especially for a cop, there's zero acting. And the moment you start acting, that's when you are not going to get it, because they want you there because you are a cop. And
yeah, exactly. Well, sometimes they say less is more, right?
Or they say throw it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, less is more. Throw it away.
I've left those auditions feeling like $1 million, and then finally, and I remember driving in the rain. It was a freaking really shitty day that day, and parking like 3 blocks over, walking over there in the rain. And then I remember, like, when it was done, and it wasn't for a cop, it was for like played the evidence collection clerk. And
that would be a good part.
And I remember after, when I was done, I was so pissed that I messed it up. I punched the freaking, I'm like, 20 years you've been coming here? Bang! I punched the thing. And then, like, I get a call, like, later on, "Oh, are you available for a call back?" Really? All right, yeah, I'll go back. And then I went, I read it again, and then I fucked it up even worse. Then I was like, bang! I punched the same thing. Motherfucker. And then they call me up, and they're like, "All right, you're shooting on this day." I'm like, "What?" Really?
Outstanding. That's great. Congratulations. Isn't that the best phone call in the world?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was just because it was Law and Order, and they never freaking booked me up until that point. You know what I'm saying? I had got other stuff. I parts on the, like, short-lived jury. Every show that I had been on has been canceled almost immediately afterwards. That's for sure. Like, I could run off a lift. I was on the jury. They got canceled the week after that. The one I was on A&E never even made it to air. Got canceled in the 5th episode. I was on the 4th. So
that's a whole other element to it. That's why I wanted, one of the reasons I went into law enforcement. I couldn't deal with the instability of a job like that.
Well, look, at least now you don't have to really worry about making a living because you have your pension, and you're working now. But I mean, say you were really just still struggling, at least you'd have some income coming in.
I feel very, very blessed.
Yeah.
I hooked up with a friend of mine. It's odd. I've known him for 20 years. He's a New York actor, and he's making a living doing it. And I've always said, if I don't get the part, it's okay. Cause but I see friends like that. And he's a little younger than me, but he's had so many swings and he just missed. He was due to be Mike on Mike and Molly. He just missed the role to that. And luckily we're doing episodes back to back, and we had one day shooting together. So, but I got to hand it to people who, from the gate become an actor, because it is a hard, unstable life.
Yeah, it's like being a musician. Depending on that totally to make a living is really tough,
Tell us about the Wolf of Wall Street experience.
It was only one day. If anyone has seen the movie, it was I had a really small part in that, but the butler has an orgy. So the Leonardo DiCaprio hires some friends, and it's the scene where they hang him out the balcony by his feet.
Uh-huh.
And the line is, I called the police to arrest him, but I ended up paying them each $1,000, and then they beat the crap out of him. So it's just us, I think my one line was shut up. So I hit him with my stick, and he's all bloody, and Leonardo DiCaprio each pays us $1,000. But it was a really cool experience. He was a great guy. It was very cool to be on a Scorsese set. Very professional. Yeah, everyone speaks very quietly, and it's very professional. There's no banging and noise and yelling. It's just everyone speaks like this. And he was just very, very approachable. And
is that because that's the way Marty speaks? He speaks very low and succinctly.
Possibly, because I had done, even though I was cut out of it, I had done The Departed. So, but I just think I don't know. It's when you get there, the assistant director says, "This is how we speak on the set." Mm-hmm. But it was a great atmosphere. It's very calming. It was cool. And a lot of it, unfortunately, it was mostly improv. So we improv'd, and a lot of the stuff didn't make it to the final cut. The joke was the butler is all bloody, and we get there, and his friends say, "Officer, this man assaulted us," and we look over at the bloody guy. And so we ad-libbed. I remember saying, I go, "Oh, Annie's a fucking thief." So I was so excited to drop an F-bomb in a Scorsese film, but and we tried it different ways, but that was one way I kind of hoped it would end up, but that was all cut. But it was a phenomenal experience. I would look back fondly.
That's great.
Yeah, it's cool.
Great.
I think we're up on our hour, and we're at an hour and 16 minutes. You want to start wrapping this up?
Yeah.
See how you get a bunch of cops together. It doesn't matter what we do. We could talk forever. And next time we have to have waiters bringing us beers while we're doing this,
Peter Francis says, Mike.
Oh, as soon as this COVID shit's over, I have so many people I want to have a drink with,
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Before we leave, let's give one more shout out to everybody who tuned in. Peter Pranzo. Mike is a real gentleman and an accomplished actor. Fits right in with you guys. Tony Embry, Orange and Black. I glued to that show. Or I guess Orange is the New Black, right? Yeah. I glued to that show. I just log on. OG Bosgow. Best show ever. Thank you.
Oh yeah, Third Watch.
Yeah. Oh, he was on the show with you?
No, Bosco. I think he means OG. Bosco was from Third Watch, just one of the characters.
Yeah, well, that's his
that's his tag. That's his name on the live chat.
Oh, perfect.
Maybe it's the real guy. I don't know.
Munch and Stabler. Does that mean anything to you, Munch and Stabler?
Yeah, that's SVU.
SVU, the characters on SVU.
Okay, yeah, because he put that too. So he knows all, but he's a big fan. And he's also a Law and Order addict here.
Nice.
And we had a listen. This was a great show. It was an honor to meet you.
Oh, honor's mine. Thank you guys. This was fun.
You were
Mark. I just want to shout out to our Patreon fans, which we have to do, even though we have a Patreon. You can join it by patreon.com/policeoffthecuff. We have 3 tiers. For $7 a month, you're the bucket. Don't go for $7, go higher. For $9 a month, you get to polish my rack, and I actually have a picture of my rack on the site. And then for $11 a month, you get to dip them in butter. So
dip
them in butter, pay $11 a month to see us. You get a lot of content. that you don't see on here.
Bill, if you don't mind, we'll get one last one out of Mike, because I see this thing is from ICS 3928. Mike is an incredible talent. Ask him about arresting a clown.
Oh my God.
Good way to
Who
go.
is that? I'd love to know who that is. I'm surprised you guys didn't know that.
What's about that?
I was on the street in 1999 out of the academy, just a few months in Times Square. I arrested a clown in full clown makeup with little stars on his face white, dressed all in clown gear. And I forget what it was for. It was some like discount thing. But I was throwing him in the back of the RMP. And unbeknownst to me, someone snapped a picture. And then maybe 4 years ago, someone pointed out that picture is being sold on T-shirts and posters and sweatshirts and hoodies.
Shit.
And so I kind of had that memory in my head, but I didn't know anyone took a picture. So just a few years ago, I got to see that picture again and see me locking up, I don't know, Chuckles or whomever the clown. It's actually a great picture.
Was he one of like the characters in Times Square? You know, all the
Yes.
people. Yeah. So
He was. Yeah, I think he's still around. But New York Nico was the photographer, and he's been selling that. So if you look up New York Nico, the name of the picture is "It's a Tough Town to Be a Clown." So you see little rookie, skinny.
You know, when it was in the midst of the snowstorm the other day, the naked cowboy was out there. I was like, "How's this guy out there? What you know?"
Been around forever.
I know.
God bless that. I don't know what he's got to put something on his skin so he doesn't feel it. Like it's got to be, because he's crazy. In the middle of the snowstorm, that guy's out there.
I remember the cops hated him.
Why?
The cops hated him. They always said that he was such a tool.
Really?
Yeah, not a nice man. I understand.
Yeah, I locked up Batman once. He was on Halloween for DWI.
Oh, really?
I
The Batmobile?
He was in the Batmobile. I called up his wife to come and pick up his stuff so I didn't have to voucher it. And we're in the 112. He's going to get tested. He's cuffed all the way down here. I don't know if you've ever been in the 112. It's got a long, long desk. So he's cuffed over here. I'm bullshitting with this other cop from the 112 all the way. It's my collar. His wife comes in. I said, this is his stuff. She signs the paper. And she says to me, could I say something to him? You know, they're Spanish, like Ecuadorian, right? He's fucking hammered, by the way. She says, could I say something to him goodbye? I said, yeah, go ahead. So I send her down there. And at some point, the guy that I'm talking to goes, yo, Batman's getting fucked up. And I turn around. And she was talking to him for a second. And then she started wailing on him.
Good for her.
I had to run back there and this guy was in a full bat. He still had the bat face on.
Oh, that's great. I love the absurdity of the job sometimes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. So anything else?
You got anything you want to plug, Mike, or you're on a job right now? What else do you want to plug? Right? You're a working actor. You don't even have to plug anything.
No, I got nothing but thanks to you guys.
No, thank you. It's an honor
Thank you so much. Oh, I wanted to shout out to our friend Yael Bartour for referring all these great guests to me. Mike's one of them, and her friend Nancy Rommelman we had on, and hopefully Yael will keep referring guests to me, or she'll come on. She was on our show a while ago. She's great, you know.
She is great, and thanks to her, and thanks to you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it,
man. All the best in everything you do, Mike.
Thank you.
We're big fans, and hopefully we'll get a chance to work together. Hopefully, one day, us three together.
I would love that. That would be great.
Doing a squad scene.
That'd be awesome.
It'll be called. The scene will be called "A Million Attaboys Don't Equal One Shit."
Great line.
All right, listen. For Police Off the Cuff, Mark DeMeo, Bill Cannon, and Michael Devine, good evening. Thanks so much for watching.
Mike.